Hello friends, welcome to my channel. So I've had a video request to do a full guide to nail stamping and what to use. So that is what I'm going to do today. So I'm going to be giving a lot of information, just any little thing I can think of, um, I'm going to include in this. So it's probably going to be a little boring, but I want to give you as much information that I can to hopefully help someone out. And these are just things I do. Um, There may be things other people do that I don't do or I don't know about. Sometimes you just got to find your own way of doing things that you prefer. And if it works for you, then that's great. Do it the way that you find that works. So I'm just going to start with like a basic thing. So say just a regular plate. All plates should come with a blue film. Now I have this one here that, as you can see, does not have a backing. I also have this one here that does have a backing. The ones that do not come with a backing, I would highly, highly recommend to get some backings, which you can, and they look like this. I mean, there's different colors, but this is the color I have. These are from Amazon, and you would just peel this white sticker off, and it'll show like a glue, like right here. And you'll peel it all off. You'll lay which of this one doesn't fit this one, but it's an example. And you'll lay the plate over the s- sticker part and push it down, and then it'll be like this. Now, some plates do come with one and some do not. And I wanted to just include that in case you weren't familiar. So you want to always pull off your blue film. Some people use a tool. I personally just use my thumbnail, or sometimes I can push it just like that. I know a lot of people also go ahead and clean off their plate before use. I typically don't. So that's another thing you can kind of see if that works better for you or not. And there's different brands, of course. So this particular one is from Amazon, so you can get different ones from there. You can get, I'm just going to name a few because there's so many. I know I'm not going to remember them all, but uh, Queen, that kind of starts about I'm going to say $5 range. And then you have like middle range, I'm going to say like Maniology, which is mostly what I do have. Um, and then it can go up and there's like, let's see, what do we got? I know Clear Jelly Stamper, and they got some larger plates. Um, Maniology plates are typically, they're $8, all the ones that are on their website. The larger plates typically are like $15 with other brands. So you just kind of find what price range is best for you and go from there. You will also need a good stamper. So I always use a ice cube stamper. I just like it. It's easier for me to work with. I prefer it. And I have the Maniology ones. So I just, um, Maniology, when I first started it, it worked for me. So I just kind of just stuck with it. I've been trying to kind of look at a few other brands more recently just to kind of just get some different options. But as far as the stamper, I always use my Maniology one. Now they also have what is called a monocle stamper, and as you can see, a lot bigger. Um, I never personally reached for this because it's so much larger, and for my hand, it just it's look how, like, for me that's just too big. Now I think some people say that it can help or say pick up certain images that maybe don't pick up as well for them with an ice cube stamper, but typically images do fine for me with the ice cube. Again, it's kind of a personal preference, so I always, like I said, use my ice cube but that is another option. Just as long as you have a good stamper, doesn't really matter the size as long as it's comfortable and picks up the images for you. Okay, and you'll also either want a cotton ball or a cotton pad, whatever you prefer. I typically use the cotton pads for my plates just because I feel like they are easier for me with the tool I use, which would bring me to now you can use your hand, of course, to do a clean off on your plate. Um, if you want to save money, you can even use a clothespin. So just pick up like that to clean off. I also have this, which I've used for a very long time. This is for maniology as well, but it just picks up and you can clean off like that. I've recently from Amazon picked this up, which is like a cotton ball claw grabber. Now Maniology has one just like this that's a pineapple one. I don't have that exact one. I wasn't real sure if I would like that style, so I just got a cheap one off of Amazon to see if I even like it. But same thing. They all do the same, thing. So really just a personal preference of whatever you want. Now you can, like I said, just use your hand to do that with it. But if you do, keep in mind if your nails are painted, they have a higher risk of like you accidentally taking off the polish you're wearing. So just keep that in mind. Okay, then you need 100% acetone. Now they have this from, I got this from Dollar Tree. However, at this point, I wanted it for the pump bottle, just because you can just and it pumps out. So I always refill this bottle with my regular acetone, which is this. So this is just the brand that I always see around. Um, it's easier made available around here, so I always get this and just refill that bottle. You don't want to put regular nail polish remover on your plate because I guess it kind of just messes, it'll cloud it really bad. Now, with that being said, my plates do still tend to get cloudy. And when they do that, I can either just use a regular cotton pad without anything on it to basically buff it away, and that works. And some people, and I have before as well, just use like some rubbing alcohol just to kind of clean it off again after using the acetone to get the cloudiness away. Okay, then you will need a scraper card. Um, there are some, this is a mini scraper card. There's some that are larger. Um, again, that's a personal preference if you prefer a small one or not. I don't have any larger ones, so I just always stick with this one. Then for stamping, you'll want a stamping polish. So, like this says here, stamping art polish. And these will be more opaque, um, and tend and should work better than a regular polish. And I'm going to show you that here in a little bit compared side by side. Also, this kind of stamping polish does dry like a regular polish. So if you are needing more time, say it's drying too fast for you, they do have what's called a sticky stamping polish. And this one's from She Modern. So these just give you more time to work if you need to. Uh, they just don't dry as fast as a regular stamping polish. Now, that also sometimes to me can make you got to kind of work in the not too fast because you don't want to smear your image. As to where this one you do got to work fast or it'll dry. So you kind of got to figure what works best for you. But you definitely want some kind of stamping polish. Again, different brands have different stamping polishes. So this one was, I think, $7 or $8 from Maniology, and this one, all I can remember is I know it costs more, but um, this one's 13 ml and this one's 15 ml. But this is like a sticky stamping polish does come in handy, uh, you know, for certain things that you're not working as fast on. Somebody's told me that Queen is also has some that work just fine. So just find what works for you. Okay, then you'll want something to clean off your stamper with. You don't want to get acetone or polish remover on your stamper, so you can clean it off with regular tape. Just the stickiness will clean it off. Of course, that's a little bit more, I guess I would say, time consuming. So the other options would be, which I've already been using this, of course, but just a lint roller. You can get them from any store, really, Walmart, whatever. Because it's sticky, it'll clean off your stamper. There's also what's called a sticky stamper station, which is what this is. Um, so when you open it, it's just like a book of sticky pages. This page is a regular page. You can write on it or whatever. But where it says peel, you peel it up and you have a sticky paper. So that would also clean off your stamper. So really whatever your personal preference is. Last I looked, they did have one of these like on sale on Maniology's website, their sale page. So if you're interested in that, if it's still there, it was on sale. And then I would suggest a napkin because whenever you swap your polish, it is of course going to come off. And you don't want it to get on any surface. You don't want polish on. I mean, now you can, if it's on, say, like a nail mat like this, you can clean that off. But this, instead of cleaning it off, I just use what I can up of the napkin and throw it away. And I also, you'll see me, I'll do like this with my card to wipe off any extra polish. Um, but we're going to get into all that. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of show you without nail polish. Um, when you scrape, now some people lift up, see if I can turn it where you can see better. Some people kind of lift up their card. I think I typically just have it a little bit, excuse me, a little bit more like flat. Again, I'm not going to say any way is right or wrong. Find what you prefer, what works for you. As long as you're getting the polish across the image to pick up, that's all you need to do. Okay? Now when it comes to the pickup, you'll just want to gently roll your stamper. You don't need to push down because if you push down too hard, the polish that is in the grooves it will not pick up the image the way it needs to. So you'll just want to do a real light roll. Now, you can also, if you want, roll it this direction. It really doesn't matter the direction as long as you're getting the whole image. So again, just lightly, like see how it's just touching? You don't need to push it down, okay? Now also, I typically don't just like that because if you see the stamper is curved, if I'm just going to go like that, it's, in my opinion, going to be missing part of it. Now, I'm not saying it can't be done, but I'm just saying if I roll it, it'll get the image versus if I'm just going to go, I maybe end up missing part of the image. Again, personal preference. And in between, after you have picked it up and stamped your image, you're going to want to always clean off your stamper with one of the either the tape, the lint roller, or the sticky stamper station. So the first round, I'm not going to stamp. Uh, well, let me reword that. I'm going to apply it on the stamper. I'm just not going to stamp it down onto something, just to kind of show you first what I'm doing. So I'm going to apply my sticky stamping polish first to the image. Now, typically you only need half of it covered, but there are some images, in my opinion, that kind of need the whole image covered because they don't pick up the same way. I'm going to try to, might need to pull out one more plate to show you what I'm talking about, but let me see if I can get this one. I'm going to just put half on this one, okay? And we'll see. Well, I did a little more than half. That's okay. But I'm going to scrape. As long as it's got across the entire image, it's okay. So then I rolled it to pick it up. Now, could be a better example? See, like this one's more solid image. There's not as much spacing as you can see within the other images. So these, in my opinion, tend to need a little bit more polish than these kind of images. So I'm going to clean this off with my lint roller. So see, it's cleaned off. So what I'm going to do is go to right here beside this one, and I'm going to, I'm going to pick it up and quickly stamp it down on this the nail mat so that you can see. So I'm going to apply the polish halfway. Pick up and apply. And I did roll it. Um, I typically do the roll method because, again, the stamper's curved. So to me, it gets on there more so than if I just press down. Now I'm also going to tell you, when I first started my nail stamping journey, I had a random plate from another brand that the stamper was not a good stamper. The card was not even good. You could definitely tell a difference in quality. I never could get it to work. So the stamper does matter. The plate does matter, like how the etching is and everything. Now, if you watch my channel, you know Maniology's been my go-to because, like I said, when I got started that brand, it just worked, and so I just stick with what works. However, I've recently gotten more into different brands, and so this one is from Amazon, and as you can tell, picked up just fine. So it's not always about the cost, it's just the quality of the material, because some do better than others. So it's kind of just trial and error and figuring it out, what works and what don't, because it's not always a you problem. Sometimes it is a plate problem or a stamper problem or a polish problem. Um, so you kind of just got to practice and figure it out. So whenever you're using, like I said earlier, a stamping polish, it should be more opaque than a regular polish. Now, I'm not going to say a regular polish cannot work because it can, and I have shown that before on my channel, but typically it's not as opaque. And there are some that don't work. They don't pick up. Now, I'm going to show you with this one, regular polish. This one, I personally haven't had the best of luck with picking up, but since it is black, I'm going to go ahead and compare with the stamping polish for you, and then we'll kind of go from there. So let's see how it does this time. Now it'll be more of a watered consistency compared to a stamping polish. They are thicker. And so see when I went to wipe off my card. Okay, so see it did pick up, but it is definitely not as opaque as this. So what I'll do to show you, let me get my, I'm going to use my cotton pad. I'm going to apply my acetone. My pump here. I will clean this image off and I'll show you with that exact same image with the stamping polish. So just so they're side by side, I will apply it right here. So this is my stamping polish. So right there, I can already tell it's more opaque. So again, this did pick up. You can see it, but you can definitely see the stamping polish more so. So I guess, really that would depend on what your desired look is. And I understand finances too, okay? I know that's a large part of what goes into it. So again, most of these Maniology polishes are typically $7, $8 for the stamping polish. It just, again, varies by brand. So I'm gonna bring in this plate. This is a Maniology plate. See that there's that cloudiness I'm talking about. So I'll just take a regular cotton pad and I'll buff it out what I can if it'll let me. Some of them are a little bit easier than others, but you can see that this plate has a lot of solid image, which is like it's this whole thing, and you would need to put the polish in that. Now with these, it's a little bit more difficult than like just a typical image. Now you can sometimes roll them this direction. Sometimes it's better to roll them this direction. Again, you don't want to push into the space because it'll take the polish out. Now this is one that sometimes even I have to mess with to get the correct pickup. We'll do this one so I can show you. So you mostly, like with this, I'm going to go ahead and apply the polish in the whole image. You also don't want to scrape into the image or you will take the polish out. So I'm going to go ahead and try it this direction first. So it did. I still got some of that polish out. Now, I don't know if that was from the actual pickup or if it was from the scraper card because trying to get it, see if you can, because when I do the scraper card, if I go in too much, it's going into the groove and will take it out. So I'm going to go to this one. This time I'm going to scrape this direction. Sometimes certain images do better scraping a different direction. Again, it's part of you just figuring out what works for you. So see that one still, that's a me problem, which means I'm doing something because I have used this before and it does fine but these are harder to work with. So basically this just shows you it takes time and practice and sometimes it works out and sometimes it don't. So just go back to my regular way. Well, and I didn't even get the whole image that time. Let me move over to this one. This way, this time I'm going to scrape this direction. Okay, it's much better. That little thing dot you're seeing is there something's on my stamper here. And for that, you can, because the stamper stops right here, you can get regular tape and clean off the back of your stamper. to get any little things off. So I'll do that. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. So just got my piece of tape. I'm just gonna, unless it's a nick, which it ain't coming all, oh, there it goes. Okay, so I'm gonna say, oh no, I nicked it. And then so like that little piece, let's take it off. So I'll just, let me see, it may be too dry, but I'll just put it right here. Yeah, it's getting too dry. So it's peeling up because I wasn't intending on placing it down. But if you were going to, you'd want to do that fast. So I'll do another one just so I can show you what I'm talking about. Okay. So also that piece, I'm taking my scraper card and getting that off. Again, this means working fast. So see now that one did much better because I did it faster than this one. So this one dried too fast. This one I worked fast enough for it to get on the image or onto the mat. So again, just take your time to practice. It doesn't have to be perfect. You just want to have fun with it. Enjoy what you're doing. Um, Again, with the regular stamping polish, just try to work fast. As soon as you get it picked up, try to get it stamped down. Now, that's when the problem with if there is anything extra on your stamper. Now, again, you can have tape ready to go, like it needs to be ready so that you can get off any extra pieces that are on there. You can use your lint roller to, let me pull it over here. So say there's some on part of the stamper to try to get it off without taking off the image that you want left on there. Um, Again, like you can also use your scraper card to take off little bits, which I do a lot because it's right here and just faster sometimes. But if there's a lot of extra pieces, I will use my lint roller for when needed. So we can do like, let's do one of these circles here. Now again, these ones like are more, in my opinion, more difficult to work with because they are an open image. They're not like a regular image like this one. So we're going to scrape, roll. Yes, I missed some. I'm going to take off this extra piece and then you would go to stamp. So again, yes, it works. Yes, I missed some. So if you don't like your pickup, then just, my apologies. Okay, so let's try again. Okay, that one did much better, but I still got to get off the extra pieces. And then, again, a lot of times, if you see this build up, even though I've been scraping off my card, it'll still get polish buildup. So you'll just take your cotton pad that has acetone on it and clean it off. And that'll help get a better pickup. Also, whenever you're done with your stamper, just clean it off with the sticky paper of choice. Um, that way you just put it away clean. Also clean off your plate when you're done, just because it's easier to get it cleaned off before you put it away than when you get it back out because that polish will be so dry and harder to clean off. And I will let you know the black stamping polish is very messy. It's harder to, you're going to want enough cotton pads. Also, I typically, when I've gotten what I can off of the plate, I'll get a little bit of that acetone on there and go ahead and use my hands without touching my nails that are already painted. Try to get off any bit because there's always seems to be extra. And I'll show you here in a minute when I flip it. Okay, still there. So then I'll use the other side and kind of do the same thing. And then again, if it needs buffing, I'll do that. But you don't have to. So you'll want to just put it away, to where it's clean. So that is basic stamping. So I'm just going to add on this a little bit. If you want to get into reverse stamping, so what that means is same process. I'll pick up an image. I'm going to leave the image on my stamper. Let it dry, which doesn't take long. Then you're going to want some kind of a palette of your choice. I typically just have been using foil because when I use anything else, I have to use my um, acetone to clean it up, and I already go through my acetone enough trying to clean off my plates. So I'll just use my foil fill up the whole entire thing as much as I can, flip it over, same thing with that side. So whichever works for you, and whatever art brush of choice. So this one's a nail art brush. This one is just from, I think it was from Michael's in the art supply section. So whatever brush works for you. However, if you're dealing with like a fine line, like a fine image, small image, you're probably going to want the smaller brush tip. If it's a larger image, then you would probably want a little bit larger brush tip. So again, just take some figuring out what you prefer and what works for you. So what I'm going to do is we're going to pick up this star image here. Still using my stamping polish. Okay, so I'm just gonna, now the bottom piece doesn't really matter. It's not gonna, you can just clean it off. I'm gonna let this sit a second to dry. So we're just gonna do like simple here. I'm not gonna, because you can go into whatever colors your heart desires. I'm just gonna use just an old polish I have. Just gonna put some on my palette here. Now it'll dry too, so you can just make you a new spot each time, or however, I try to go through one color at a time because of that. And again, you do not have to reverse stamp. This is just an extra if you are interested in doing so. Also, you will want some sort of a little, or some type of a dish to put some acetone into. So I've been using this one. I used to use a large one, but it was just too big. So I just got this one from Anyology, and it's the perfect size. So I have this bottle here, and I have this one just for my reverse stamping. So I'll just put a little bit of acetone in there because you'll need it in between polish changes to clean off your brush. And I'm kind of zoomed out here more than I normally am because I wanted to be able to show you everything, and I knew my lint roller wasn't going to show you, you wouldn't be able to see it too good within my space if I was zoomed out, or excuse me, zoomed in. So you'll just put a little bit of polish and just kind of, and you can use stamping polish or regular polish to do so. You don't have to use stamping polish for this, which a lot of times you'll see me use regular polish. It just depends if you want something more opaque, if you want a specific color. Um, you can use your Dollar Tree polishes. I use those a lot for my reverse stamping. Just depends on my mood and what I'm going for. Of course, the smaller images are harder to see. So you can, if you have that issue, just get those like either a magnifier like a one that is like has a stand on it to put your stamper under it to see better, or like I do, get some magnifying glasses just from like your local pharmacy area. They're not prescription, of course, they just are for magnifying, and that helps me quite a bit. Now, I'm at that age to where I need a little help, so anyway, so you can use any colors you want, and you would just go through, color them the way you want. Then you will let that dry. So you just set it aside, let it dry a minute. Make sure you clean off your brush. So I'm getting the extra off here. Then I'll dip it in my acetone and then a couple of times just so that your brush you just put away clean. Okay, so whenever you're ready to apply your colored in image, now I know I've got a whole mess over here, but I am gonna show you real quick. You can either use a sticky base coat, which I really like this one, but you can also use just a regular clear coat. This is just a Dollar Tree one. So as long as you get this tacky, now I'm gonna see if I can even get it to work on this. I typically do this on my nails or my nail tips that you see me stamp onto in my videos. Not tried to put this on here, I don't think. But anyway, you just want to, you'll put some on there, and it needs to be tacky to the touch. So we'll give us this a second. Also, if you're curious, how do you know when it's tacky? You know, like when you touch your polish and it's not dry enough yet, kind of like that. You don't want it dry. You don't want it too tacky or it'll mess up the image. It just needs to be a little bit tacky. So I'm going to touch it and just kind of see where I'm at. So I can feel like this part is not ready yet. So I'm going to give it just another minute and I'll retouch it to see if it's ready. Okay, so let's see if it's, will do. Again, I've not tried on here, so there it goes. So as long as it's tacky, now there's still some on there, probably didn't get it up. But it typically works better on your fingernails or nail tips. But as long as it's tacky, it should get on there. And then you can apply your uh, base coat, or let me show you. I love this stuff, smudge free top coat, because it'll help the image prevent it from smudging. Now I'm sure other brands have the same similar thing. I'm just more familiar with this one, so I always stick to it. So you would apply this over your stamped image, and then most people will go in with a regular top coat over that. Okay, so I'm just going to add in a couple extra little things. Now, I suggest having black and white nail stamping polish, at least to start, because you can do so much with both of those colors. But if you wanted to get into like a starter color, kind of thing, um, different brands should have something. The Maniology has like this pack, which is your basic color. So it has black, white, red, blue, a gold, and a silver. Um, just an option. So if you just got you some kind of a little pack of just regular color, everyday colors that you could use, and you could of course reverse stamp with them if you wanted, or whether or whatever. It's really up to you. Also, there are starter kits. This is what a kit is, for example. So this one comes with a plate, one small polish. It's like I'm gonna call it a sample polish. And this one has a sample of the smudge-free top coat. It'll also come with a stamper and a scraper card altogether. Now, also, as far as Maniology goes, they did have one that was, let's see, I think a Halloween one and a Christmas one that was on sale. So always look at their deals and clearance area because you might can find just to help get you practiced and started, and that, to save that extra money, that's an option. Again, I'm sure other brands have things, so always just check that out. So I am a Maniology ambassador. However, I'm still a customer. I purchase my own products. Um, I just, like I said, Maniology had worked for me, so I just stuck with it. But I do have a 10% off discount code if you are interested. If not, other nail channels also have codes for Maniology and for other brands. So if you don't want Maniology, totally fine. Figure whatever brand you would like to try and just go look and see who has a code for it. Some brands I'm really not sure who have codes and who don't, but I know there's a lot of Maniology codes out there. So go save you some money, find somebody's code to use, and um, yeah, that'll help you get started. So just, I hope this is somehow helpful to somebody. Um, I know it was long, but there's a lot of information, you could go over. And I was just trying to think of any little thing that I could to tell you. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave a comment, and I'm more than happy to help you how I can. Um, Again, what works for one person may not work for another, and others may know something I don't know, and I could learn something. Just takes practice and time and figuring out what works for you. Try not to get discouraged. It should be fun and enjoyable, and it is your nail art creation. Um, I don't want you to feel like, oh, I'm doing something wrong. No, everybody's got to learn. And again, you may find something that works better for you. So do that, and don't feel like you're not doing good enough or anything. Just have fun with it. But I do hope this was somehow helpful. I do appreciate you so much for watching. Um, I will link the stamping polish that I used today, like this one, in the description box, along with the link to Maniology's website. If you are interested, again, please do not feel obligated. Whatever works for you, whatever brand works for you, whatever price range works for you, that's what you need to do. So thank you so very much. Have a blessed day. Bye.